Pregame.com.
Thursday night, NBA action. Chicago Bulls travel to battle the Heat. This is a quick rematch from last week. He's Steven Over. I'm Marco D'Angelo. Steven, as I said, quick revenge opportunity for Miami. They played a week ago on Thursday. They had the game. Miami led throughout. Looked like they were going to win the game. Bulls hit a three-pointer, waning seconds of regulation, send it to overtime, and then the Bulls come away with a 10-point win in overtime. What do you think the psyche is going into this game? Last week, Scott and I previewed this game, and I said this was an absolute statement game for the Bulls. They needed to prove to themselves, and their fans that they can beat the Heat after last year's, meltdown in the NBA conference finals. What do you think now? Who's the team with a chip on their shoulder going back for the revenge?
Well, I always thought, Marco, that revenge should be emphasized more in college than the pros. However, in these short turnarounds, revenge has more status in the NBA than if these teams had met like a month or two ago. Mm-hmm. So yeah, revenge, it has to be on their minds. But more important, this is kind of last stand time for Miami if they're going to have any hope of catching the Bulls, for best record. We're taping on Wednesday before the Wednesday night games, and the Bulls were, like 2.5 games ahead of Miami. So Miami was supposed to be resting Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh for their Wednesday game against the Raptors, trying to set this one up. Taking the chance they can beat the Raptors with just about LeBron and his little merry band of guys minus those two stars. But so let's figure they're going to beat the Raptors, and this then is a huge game for Miami. It's really must win if they're going to have any shot.
Well, Chicago plays on Wednesday too, and they play what is the equivalent right now of a scrimmage game because they play Charlotte, and who has just been absolutely horrendous this year.
An embarrassment. One of the worst teams ever in NBA history. That game, I anticipate that we won't see Derrick Rose or Luol Deng. They'll probably be try to get them ready for Friday's game with the Heat. The big thing though with Rose is he's missed 24 games. He's only played 105 minutes in the last 17 games. And he's got to be very rusty. Watson's done a nice job filling in for him, but that could be a factor too. He played against Miami when they beat them in overtime last week, but he had a horrible game. He wasn't even out there at the end. And so you got to wonder about that with Chicago, if their rhythm is thrown off with him since he's been playing so sparingly and been missing a lot of time.
Well, in last week's game, I ended up using the total when we did the game, and I ended up using it as my video best bet. And I'm going to come right back and use the total again. Only I'm going to surprise you. We're not going to be on the under this time. We're going to be on the over. Last week, I loved the over, and I had to sweat it. It never should have been a sweat because it was a stone cold under. But then when it went to overtime, obviously we were in jeopardy of the.
You had the under, right?
I had the under, and we still got there by a couple points. But again, you put the extra 5 minutes in overtime.
Sure,
you're not happy. And
well, you've handicapped a game right when you still get the money with an under when the game's gone into overtime. Good job.
Absolutely. But let me tell you, it caused me some concern because that night we were out to dinner with Gil was in town, and East Coast Gambler, a guy on Twitter, big following, RJ and that. In VR, we were at Del Frisco's, and I was in the middle of my 24-ounce porterhouse. And let me tell you, when I saw that three-pointer go in, I said, oh my God, did that just tie the game? Because the TV was in the bar and we were in the dining room. And then I saw them tipping off, for the overtime period. I'm like, oh no, this isn't good. But I got through the steak though, guys. I want to let everybody know that we managed to get through it. And we stayed under. So all is good. But the main reason that I liked the under so well in that game is because the last game that these two teams played was such a high-scoring game. It was a 106-102 game, and Rose didn't play in that game. And the tempo of that game, because Miami was down most of that game by 12 to 15 points, they were always on the attack mode and everything. And I said, now you're going to have a reversal of form, because it was like a playoff atmosphere. And I felt it was a huge statement game for the Bulls. They needed to win that game. If they would have lost on their home floor again to Miami, heading into the playoffs, and let's face it, is there anybody that does not believe that the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be these two teams? I mean, I know Boston's played well down the stretch, but really in a 7-game series, is anybody going to knock one of these two off in the East?
No, it'll be these two teams.
Okay, so if Chicago couldn't show that they could win in the regular season play to have that confidence moving into the playoffs, they were going to be in trouble. So I thought you'd see a huge defensive effort. You did have Derrick Rose coming back into the lineup. One thing when Rose is not in the lineup, the team plays more of a transition game, because you're not working to get Rose his shots, where you're passing the ball to get him his good looks. That was one of the reasons why I like the under. I think here, Chicago, you said they're still battling for the first spot, but really we only got about another week of the regular season to go.
4 or 5 games.
And it's looking like both teams are going to win on Wednesday. They're going to need to overcome a 3-game deficit for Miami to leapfrog them. I don't see it happening. I think I see these two teams playing a little looser, not as tight defensive game as they did in Chicago. And I think, if anything, Miami gets a lead, they're going to keep pouring it on, because I think if they get a chance, I think they want to send a message to Chicago. Now, I'm not saying run out and bet Miami, because this Chicago team is very talented, and most of these games have been tight ball games. But I like this game to go over the total, and I think because the last game was such a under, people are going to look and say it went under by 15 points at the end of regulation, and it still made it under with the extra 5 minutes, is going to give us some value when this line comes out. I think they're going to score 193 or more in this game, and that's going to be way above what this number is going to come out on Thursday.
Well, they get above 193, you should be safe with an under. I like your contrarian viewpoints here, and that's really the way to win in this game. However,
devil's advocates coming in.
What you're going against is a trend of Miami going under at home 17 of the last 22 times. So that tells you there's some defensive intensity at home. We know Miami is far, far better at home than they've been on the road so far. And Derrick Rose is kind of the wild card. Does he play? If he plays, how effective will he be? Dwayne Wade is, he's got a little bad ankle, nothing serious, but I cannot fault your thinking, Marco. In fact, as I mentioned, I like the contrarian out of the box thinking. I personally won't get involved with the total, but I wish you luck with it.
No problem. You any leans on the game itself? Since I'm on the total, and
I've had trouble getting involved with the Bulls because I just don't know Rose's status, and I've been playing Miami. I had a nice winner with Miami against the Knicks on the road on Sunday, and I like them today. We're shooting Wednesday. I actually like Toronto today, just based on information that Wade and Bosch are going to be sitting out, and Turov, he's out too. Just trying to get some line value, because some of these books were a little asleep at the wheel with this, I got to think, though, Miami would be the side if I had to play the game, and the laying of the points isn't too rich, because this really is their season. This sets up for them, and holding out Wade and Bosch, that they're going all out for this game.
Absolutely. I like the over. I'm going to make the over my video best bet, and I forgot to give Dustin the coupon for the video best bet, so I'll give him a heads up. It's going to be Heat 10 for the video coupon, and we'll get to that in a second. We're projecting this line to be like Miami -4. I would agree with you. If I was going to take the side in this game, I would have to lean to Miami. I think they're the one that wants to send a message. But I feel the total is going to present me more value. And I hear you on the stats with Miami, but we also know that when Vegas starts to see those kind of numbers too, you know, they're going to adjust the lines. The only thing that can hurt me with the line in this game is because it is a TV game Thursday night. Vegas does tend to pump the total a little bit to the over just because they know natural bias with the betting public on TV games is with the over, even though they don't look at history and everything else. But I still think we're going to get a low enough number that my thinking in the game is going to get me the over. So I'm going to go ahead and make my video best bet for this week. We're going to go with the Miami-Chicago game over the total. I'm projecting 193 or more points scored. So wait till you see the line on Thursday. And as long as that over-under is under 193, we've got a go sign for you guys. Go ahead and take the over. And as we do each week with my video best bet, we give away a coupon. That coupon is good for $10. You can use at pregamepros.com. Just load up your shopping cart, whatever you want to buy, enter that coupon code at checkout. You'll get $10 off the package. And if it happens to be a package for only $10, that's on RJ. Doesn't happen often, Stephen, but it does happen sometimes. But either way, pick up $10. You can check out all of the hot cappers at pregamepros.com. And of course, follow all of the videos all week long at pregame.tv. Stephen and I is going to be back. We're going to look Friday night. Big game on Friday night. We're looking at the Lakers in San Antonio. Seems like they just played. Actually, it seems like they just played twice in
like 2 minutes ago.
In the last few weeks. They're going to be meeting for the third time in 11 days. We'll talk about that one next.